Good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking time to be here. And my name is Javier Ramirez, and I'm the D365 Finance and Operations Practice Director for Turnkey Technologies. So, background experience. Well, I do have 14 years working with Dynamics AX, formerly known as Dynamics AX since version 3.0. And today, what we're going to be talking about is manufacturing, right? Inside D365 Finance and Operations. So the first thing that we need to understand when we start evaluating the ERP that it's going to fit us or not fit us is, okay, what are the capabilities that this ERP will support me, right? Because at the end of the day, it could be about where I am today and where do I want to be in the future? Where is my growing going to? Okay, what kind of diversity do we want to have as a company in the next 5 years? So I really don't need to spend more money in the future for additional ERPs or additional features. Okay, so that's one of the biggest questions that we do have when we start looking for an ERP. So talking about manufacturing, what I can tell you is D365 F&O is ready to support the three main types of manufacturing. Okay, the first one is discrete manufacturing. Okay, so we know discrete manufacturing is something that we can assemble, disassemble, and at the end of the day, we can put back our materials in the same way that they were originally, right? We have the possibility to manage process manufacturing, which basically main difference is, okay, now we are talking about formulas. Now we are talking about mixing elements that won't be able to be back in the same way that they were composed at the very beginning, right, before they were used. So we have ability to use yield, we have ability to use co-products, we have ability to generate byproducts. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's kind of the same concept that discrete, but instead being a BOM, well, we have formulas. And we have other elements just as yields that can impact basically the output of a batch order, which it's called in D365 Finance and Operations. Other of the things that F&O is ready to do out of the box is lean manufacturing, right? So lean manufacturing create Kanban cards, Kanban jobs, a schedule Kanban. So if we are intending to get into a GIT manufacturing model, Kanban is where we should go. Okay, at the end of the day, it's a lot of this we are seeing in the manufacturing industry, right? It's like a car gets into the line. I really don't need to have any kind of material needed before that happens. Whenever I put a Kanban order, right, a supplier goes to the to the facility, drops a piece, goes to the line, right? A lot of these companies, what they are doing, they have supplier warehouses all around their manufacturing sites, right? And that gives them that ability. So that's kind of the potential where we could be by using D365 F&O. So, and at the end of the day, we can also have a mixed mode, right? If my business, probably part of my business is to do some kind of food and beverage products, right? And as of today, probably I'm not doing or I'm not manufacturing my bottles, right? I'm just manufacturing or I'm just processing the beverages. Okay, so I have the formulas, I have the liquid, I have everything, and I'm outsourcing and I'm buying my bottles. But what if tomorrow's day I want to start working with plastic injection, so I can save some money in my main raw material, which could be my bottles, my PET, my pro formas. Okay, so we can just easily set up those as items, right? Have a discrete manufacturing process and combine it with a process manufacturing. Okay, so that's kind of the different kind of scenarios that we can handle. Probably we have a discrete manufacturing process, right? And only one operation across my line needs to be just in time. Okay, let's make that operation lean manufacturing. Okay, that's what we call mixed modes, and that's something that it's totally supported by D365 F&O. So here is, we have flexibility, and the companies will make sure that whenever they pick D365 F&O as an ERP, they won't need to look anywhere else to adapt to the future changes. Okay, so that's the first thing. The first thing I wanted to discuss with you. So it's a middle company to enterprise company level, right? Solution. So these are the first thing is, what kind of supported production types does F&O can handle? These are the four type of types that we can handle. Now, in order to understand what we can do with this, with the ERP and understand the outputs, well, as Bill was walking you through, we need to understand the basic elements, right, that we need to have inside the ERP. Bill of materials, routes and operations, right? Formulas in case of process manufacturing, and resources. Okay, resources can be defined as human resources, machines, or even tools. Okay, so these are the three different type of things. Resources have the ability, or we have the ability to have calendars, to have capabilities, to have skills, so the system can determine at the time we are planning which resources are available and which resources fulfill the needs that a certain route or a certain operation requires. Right? So it's that granular level. As I need to do welding, okay, I'm not going to use an architect to do welding, right? I'm not going to use probably an engineer to do welding. Okay, I need a welder. Okay, I need with a certain level of certification. Okay, that means I need a welder with certain skills. Okay, and once the system found it, okay, when does this resource has time, okay, to be applied and to be scheduled across the ERP. Okay, so those are kind of the elements. In here, you will see, and probably these are a little bit small. I'm going to go through this on the live environment, but here you have an example of a bomb. A bomb has no limit of levels, right? We can have as many sub bombs as or sub levels as we need. There are three main types of bomb elements. We can have materials, right? It's just basically simple raw material. We can have subcontractors. As you can see on this little image, there is a subcontractor area, right, where we can specify the vendor account that it's going to do it. What does this mean? Is that it means that at the time we create a production order, we will be creating a purchase order as well for this subcontractor. And most important, for the cost point of view, the value of that or the cost of that purchase order, it's going to roll up to the cost of my product, which is a kind of a common challenge across the industry where we are subcontracting and across different tools. Other of the things that we can have, it's phantom items, right? This happens with a lot of engineering industries. They're saying, hey, you know what? I really do have a BOM with 100 levels, right, of complexity. And I want to have those because we are subject to revisions, because we are subject to a lot of different challenges, and we need to have all the structure, right, as sub-levels. But I really just need to have 3 different production orders to create my final product. So that means I can have a 100 level of sub-level or sub-levels on a BOM, but only 3 production orders. How does that come? How is it possible? By using phantoms. Okay, phantom items allow us to have that kind of behavior. So the next thing is, what as I was telling you, routes, right? As you can see here is a simple route with 4 operations, right? Every operation needs to have a predecessor and a successor. Okay, so simple routes, we can handle that, or we can go to route networks, right? Because probably we have sometimes where we have a product and then we need to start the process in 2 different machines, but those processes are not dependent from the other. So here is the example. We have operation 10, operation 20. Both of them, they can happen at the same time. 15 and 25, they can happen at the same time in different machines, right? And at some point before 30 starts, we need to have that conjunction. Okay, so let's work with a route network. Okay, inside Terry, probably we can have primary and secondary operations, right? It's something that I didn't put here, but it also allow us to do that. Every operation will be associated to a resource, machine, tool, or human, right? That has specific capabilities, okay, in order to perform it. The last one is this little screen, which is really little. It's about resources. So in here, I just put a list of resources. As you can see here, you can add calendars. So what does this mean? That at the end of the day, the system will allow you to create downtimes, multiple shifts. Okay, if you have 2 shifts, 3 shifts, you have a percentage of efficiency, right, of every single one of the resources. We can put a percentage of efficiency. Okay, as you can see in the bottom, there are capabilities. So this resource have two different capabilities. It's an screwing HR and a milling HR. Okay, so there are priorities and levels of expertise, right? And all these little fields allow us to do several stuff. So let's say I have a production line, right? And I have a user that can perform two different activities. How the system is going to determine which one he is more capable to perform? Oh, let's just use that level of expertise, right? And which field is going to help the system to determine um, in the order of priority, or the order, yeah, actually the priority between those two capabilities. Let's say I have two works right now open. One is for milling and another is for screwing. Okay, how the system is going to know where it's going to assign me, right? Oh, by my priority. If we have two works at the same time open and we need to fulfill it, the system will go to the priority, or it can go for the level of expertise, right? So it's multiple things that we can achieve inside the resources, inside the routes, operations, and bill of materials. So whenever we have all these elements together, and again, this is other important thing is here is a lot of companies, they say, you know what? We want to start crawling. We don't want to walk. We want to crawl. Is it possible to have a production order without routes and operations? Yes, it is totally possible. What's going to happen? Well, part of our cost, the labor part, and probably indirect cost based on machinery won't be there. Okay, if I want to start there, I can just have bill of materials and I stay away from routes. Okay, can I start without resources? Same concept. We don't want to schedule. We don't want to do an MPS. Yeah, you can run without resources, right? I just want the MRP. Let's just do bill of materials. Okay, I want the full stuff because right now I'm ready to perform it. Do I need to do a full implementation? No, you just need to add things that you didn't add at the very beginning, right? So that's the approach that a lot of customers think about. Okay, so it's like, okay, not because I want to start easy, that means that I will pick an ERP that will have limit capacities, right? We can plan to start easy, but still have an ERP that allow us to grow within the operation. Other of the concepts in here that I didn't talk about is site and warehouse, right? One of the main differences between D365 F&O and Business Central, right, is F&O has the concept of the site, which could be considered a manufacturing plant. Okay, every manufacturing plant needs to have their own setup if it's a requirement, right? So a lot of tools, they say, no, the setup works at the legal entity level, right? And that's how it works for every single warehouse where you have manufacturing. Okay, so in F&O, that's not the case. In F&O, you have sites and you have configurations per site, routes per site, bombs per site, okay, and behavior per site. Not all the sites needs to be under shop floor control, for example. Not all the sites needs to have routes, okay? Not all the sites can have resources. So again, it's what's our growing plan? What are our needs? So we can define that at the site plant or at the manufacturing plant level, okay? So that allow us to do or to be flexible. Production control and scheduling, actually in here is just a view. I will jump in this one going live. So this is from the planning perspective, okay, and from the general production manager probably perspective. I will show you this workspace and explain it a little bit later on the live environment. Drag and drop capabilities for scheduling processes, same thing. I will show it to you in the live environment. So basically this view is what kind of operations do I have a schedule for this resource, right? What is this resource, what this resource is going to be doing during these days, okay, related to which operations and to which production orders, okay? And finally, shop floor control devices, right? So I'm on the floor. I really don't want to work with paper anymore. So I'm scanning my badge. That badge allows me to see all the works that are assigned to me, okay, I can print out instructions out from that touch screen, right? And I can perform a production order. And at the end of the day, cost control insights, which could be kind of the final intention for the ERP, right? It's like, hey, yeah, so tell me how much was active as my standard cost? How much was the estimated cost for this specific production order, right? And what was the realized cost? Okay, so I can see here I have less hours than the expected. I use the same amount of materials, okay, and I reduce the indirect cost in this production order. So we have a reference across it, okay? So other thing is which items are the ones that have more variance, right? And what's been the variance during a week of work, right? So during the production orders that I performed during this week, I was expecting to have $300 for materials. I used 312. Okay, so that's good performance, insights that we have handy. Okay, so I'm going to jump to the live tool, right? And I will try to complete something really, really fast. So first thing, I'm going to use different hats in here. And my first hat is I'm a production manager, right? So I want to know what do I have pending to release to the floor during this week. And I want to know who's working on what and which jobs have deviations. So, well, I can just get into this screen, which is called the production floor management workspace. First thing, what's happening on my floor? Okay, so I know that these resources are working on these operations for these production orders on this under these products. Okay. Okay, so we are producing this. We're on the testing. We have packaging. Who's working with packaging? This one in a different order, right? So easily we can see what is going on my floor. Okay. I want to have jobs with deviation. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Why did we already finished the production order, right? And we consume 50% of the hours that were estimated. Okay, let me take a look. Hit the hours and I have schedule hours. Actually, I run 50% over. The schedule hours were 3. And did we spend 4 hours and 53 or 4.5 hours, which means 4 hours and a half. Okay, so we have this deviation. Okay, so I have insights as a manager right away just by logging into these production orders. Okay, whenever we start dropping data inside F&O, these metrics come. Okay, so there's no batches, it's online information. And it tells you who was spending this time, miles read. How many times do we know that in the real life? So not a lot of times, it's part of what we try to enhance as business processes, right? So we have that insight. Other point of view is, hey guys, system, tell me what do I need to release up to the next week, okay? Okay, you have 10 production orders to release. Okay, now let me know for, let's say, August 31st. Okay, so for August 31st, the number changed from 10 to 11, right? Because I have some requirements already placed for somewhere between today and August 31st. Let's take a look. I just need to make a click on this button, right? And I will see those 11 orders, right? I'll say, okay, so let's take a look at that one. It was here between 6:12 and 6:15. I need to deliver this. Can I release it to my floor? No. Why? Because you don't have material. There's no physical material available, right? So it's just based on the master planning that it's running behind the scenes. We can know if we can release or we cannot release a production order, okay? Going back, I'm just going to put this as of, let's say, today, right? I want to see what do I need to release this morning, right? My daily job. Okay, I'm going here. You will see that that product will disappear. Actually, there's nothing for June in here, right? And I will say, hey, I need this one. Okay, do I have materials? Yes. How many do I have? I have 4, 5, 4, 5. Good. Let's just release it, right? I want to see the Gantt chart to see who's working and probably This is going to be a simple one. So 2 operations, pre-fast operation 10 to 10:07. Okay, hey, I want to delay this one probably by, I don't want to start it at that time. I want to start it at 1 p.m. Okay, good. So let's just schedule the next jobs, right? So I'm going to do schedule next jobs, boom, save. And now I'm scheduling actually that activity to start at 1. Okay, I can move resources, I can do different things. This is a simple and basic scenario, so I'm going to release it. Okay, I'm going to say release, yes, hit OK. In here, we can define where do we print or not print control documents, right? So if I print this, for example, from a PDF perspective, which I can just do it like that, I have a barcode to scan, right? What this is going to allow me to do, as a shop employee, as a shop floor employee, I will be able to go and log in, say, hey, I'm going to be logging and I am late because of illness, right? What I can do is I can scan this code, right? 009413. Enter. Oh, you need to produce a stick grip. Hasn't started. So this screen that I'm showing, usually it's a touch screen device inside my floor, right? So I will hit, hey, I want to see instructions. Okay, these are the instructions. Let me open those. That touch screen, it's going to show me my instructions, right? So everything inside the ERP, okay? I can start my job, I can end my job, right? So I'm just going to do here a switch. You can see this one. It's the main board of a production order. I'm not telling the users to go here, right, and start doing or performing operations in here. You see how the status changes to released? That was when a manager make that click to say, okay, now we can start working, okay? Now, whenever this guy starts making something, he says, okay, so I'm going to start one piece, good. Starting the electrical operation, right? I'm going to report my progress. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm completing one. So I come here, I hit the OK button, I say complete, and then also I type complete in here. What's going to happen here? Picking list journal has been posted. So that means that we are consuming material at the operation level, right? So I can go to the next job, which is the 9413. It's my, actually, let me just take a look here. It's the 14, right? So I'm going to hit next job. Okay, I have this one. So now I need to do the welding. I'm going to start. I'm going to hit this. I'm going to say, yep, the time, the system is recording the time whenever I hit the start and report progress. So I'm going to say 1, hit continue. I'm going to say I'm done. I'm going to hit complete. And now this one is going to post my report as finished journal. If I go here to my production order, I will be able to see the following. Sorry, all my journals created. My material is here. Material is posted. This comes from my BOM. Okay, my material has been posted. My hours has been posted, right, by operation. So this one was for one operation. This was the time that it took. This was the job 19414, right? And I have another one for my first operation. Actually, it's this one. 9413, same time. So I have a cost, right? So it's as easy as that. It could be to manage a production order on the shop floor control from F&O, right? Different insights that we will have in here. So if I take a look at the inventory on hand, for example, I want to come here and I want to say on hand of this item. Now I do have 3, right? Physical reserve is 1. I have 2 available physical. So I put 1 piece on my warehouse already just by performing shop floor control activities. Okay. So that's one example. We can run production without shop floor control. We can run production using warehouse mobile devices, right? At the end of the day, it's depending on your requirements. The system adapts, okay, based on the configuration, okay? So again, we need to evaluate where do we want to be and how much money do we want to spend in the next 5 years putting things on top of my ERP? Or do we want to invest in a tool that will allow us to grow? I think that's the main concept in here. So other basic things that I wanted to show you in here is probably, let me just go back here. I have a workspace that it's called production performance, right? We were talking about costing. This is Power BI embedded, right? So whenever you start dropping data, this information falls here, out of the box reports, okay? So production performance, right? How many orders, how many of those are being fulfilled on time, right? How many orders, yearly orders, late orders, buy dates, right? We have defects by product, defects by resource, right? We have production variances. Okay, so we have the option in here to see all this data. One of the new things that Microsoft also is pushing a lot, and if we go and just take a look in here to the production control module, you see this option called IoT intelligence, right? Microsoft right now it's investing a lot of money, and as of today, we have the capability to connect sensors, okay? Sensors that will allow us to know downtimes and predict maintenance, okay? Sensors that will allow us to put automatically time that a machine is running so we can calculate indirect costing in a very, in a most accurate way. Okay, so IoT are things that are a reality inside F&O, okay, for production management. And honestly, I can keep talking about production because I didn't touch the MRP or the MPS. We were just talking about production capabilities right now. So I use different hats. I use the manager, I use the control guy, I use the cost accounting guy, okay? So on my production orders, if I go to my, let's say this one, okay, I want to see the end result or the comparison between costs. This is the one that I was telling to you or showing to you in different in the PowerPoint, right? Realized, estimated, and standard. What's my variance by production order? Okay. What's the details? Which ones are the details of these ones? Indirect, right? So we have overhead 1, overhead 2, overhead 3, and overhead 4. We can have multiple ways to set up indirect cost. So this is just an insight of D365 F&O. If you have any questions, please let us know. We are here to help you. We are here to help you to decide which kind of tools fits you the most, right? Based on your actual current requirements, right? Based on your future requirements, right? So that's what we can offer as Turnkey Technologies. Bill Dregge had several experience and a real good experience with Business Central and F&O as well as a consultant. He's a consultant that can perform both tools. Okay, I'm leading the F&O practice. Make sure that we are here to help you. Thank you very much for your time.